Tennessee This Week from WATE's 6 on Your Side starts now.
Hello and welcome to Tennessee This Week. Good to be with you. I'm Don Hudson. The Knoxville City Council has selected a newly proposed election system. Along with the presidential and congressional elections that are on the ballot, the city charter amendment will be there with them. And voters will vote for or against the new way of doing city council elections on November 5th. Joining us now to talk about this city charter voting amendment is City Council member Andrew Roberto of District 2. That is kind of the West End, maybe, Bearden, West Hills,
That's
for people to understand that. Let's go backwards a little bit here. I know it's on the ballot. We're going to talk about that. But how did we get here? The state law changed. How did it change for your city, our city council elections, and why did it change?
Good question, Don, and thanks for having me. So the sole purpose of the charter amendments is to restore the right of every Knoxville voter to vote for all 9 city council members. So what you were talking about—
there was a time that's how it was.
That's how it's been for more than 50 years.
Okay.
Okay? So what's important to know is that the state law change removed an exemption that the city of Knoxville has been working under, our elections have worked under for the last 50 years. And in the system that we've had for that 50 years, we've always been able to vote for all 9 city council members. So what has been replaced by that is what we'll call the Nashville plan, and that plan gives you only 4 of the 9 city council members you get to vote for. So that means you get to vote for your district representative and the 3 at-large races. That leaves a majority of the members of city council who you never get to know. They don't knock on your door. They don't campaign. They don't maybe not be as responsive to you.
Right.
But the system that we've had has been relatively unique. That's true. But we've had a responsive, accountable, diverse city council, and I think that's worth preserving.
Is that how it still plays out, do you think, with the proposed change if voters say yes to that?
Yes, so what we've done is we have to work within the confines of the new state law.
Right.
And so what City Council has brought, and it is represented in the amendments, is a way for us to be consistent with the new state law, but then to preserve the right of all 9 of all city residents to vote for all 9 city council members.
Okay. Now, I read that you and other council members had made some proposals about how this should play out. Your proposal, and how close is this amendment to what you were proposing?
This is exactly what was proposed. Yeah, this is what I had proposed. This is what was supported by the vast majority of the members of City Council.
Now, was there some, I don't want to say infighting is a strong word, but was there some back and forth on this at all, and some resistance for some of it, or were all the members of the City Council pretty much in line with this?
It passed 8-1.
Okay.
And there were some discussions about adding some different amendments in, and so we did do some of that. But really, what voters are going to see when they go into the polls, and you go all the way to the bottom of the ballot. This is at the very bottom. Okay. All right, you're going to get
the amendment. We're talking about the amendment.
All the way all the way at the bottom of the ballot. They're going to see, you know, do you want to vote for this or against this? And what we're telling folks is that if you vote against it, that's accepting the Nashville plan, and you go from getting to vote for 9 folks down to 4. If you vote yes, you get to vote for all 9 city council members like you have for the past 50 years.
And we're showing the ballot. That's it right there that you're seeing on the screen. I know that you can't read it. Now, when I read this, I'm curious, because it says things like shall Article 4, Section 401, 402, and then it goes on to say of the city council be amended, regional at-large council members using regional residency as a qualification. It goes on. Do you think that the voter is going to understand this with maybe not getting a lot of play, not getting a lot of attention with the presidential and congressional races going on, that they're going to understand this and be able to vote accordingly?
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, there is some, you know, legal words that we have in there, and that makes sense. But if you actually look at what it just said, it said that we're going to have regional representation where everyone gets to vote for all 9 city council members. That's what we've been doing for 50 years. And the regional part is that we're spreading people out around the districts that we've had for 50 years. So the footprints of those districts is still exactly the same. The other additional benefit we get is when we talk about District 2, like you just said with me, you don't have any idea what that means.
Right.
And it's different than county commission and school board, so everyone's confused. Well, we decided to change away from the numbers to geographic. So that'll be the western region.
So instead of saying The
District 2 would be Western Region.
Western Region.
Yeah, but that person would still have to live within the footprint of that former district, and then everybody gets to vote for them like we have for 50 years.
Now, supporters say that they want all council members to be accountable to every resident and that this is the way of doing it. Opponents say that they might have less say and that this could actually interfere with who could actually get elected. How do you see it playing out?
Well, why would we want to tie the hands of voters? Why would we want to restrict them from who they're getting to vote for? We've had 50 years of experience, using this system. And I can tell you for myself, I'm a better candidate. I was a better council member because I had to go knock on doors all over the city. When things come up, we do a lot of land use on city council, right? And so when things come up, I have talked to people in those neighborhoods. I've answered their calls. I've knocked on their doors. I have a better understanding of what's going on, so I'm more attuned to what's happening, and I think, make better decisions. If we divorce ourselves from that system and you retreat into district-only races, well, then you're not going to have that experience, and you're still making votes for what's happening in the city. So at some point, Don, I'm not going to be on city council anymore, right? And what my point is that I want to have a city council making decisions about me and my family that is accountable to me, that had to come knock on my door and talk to me about it, because those are important decisions, and I want to make sure that they are responsive to my needs, which is, I think, the city council we've had for 50 years.
There you go. Well, we appreciate you coming in, explaining this as best you can. Remember, it is at the bottom of the ballot. It's got some legalese, as you mentioned, in there, but it's basically an up or down vote for or against. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much.
District 2 representative for the meantime. For the meantime. Thank you very much, Andrew. Still to come, we'll bring in our panel of pundits, talk about the charter vote and a local leader going on the airwaves in support of a candidate in the statewide race. Welcome back. Join us today, our WATE political pundits, Courtney Piper, Craig Griffith, and Michael Covington. The City Council election amendment is now on the ballot. Your opinion on how the council is presenting this to voters, and as we just heard from City Councilman and Roberto, we now understand it a little bit better, hopefully. Maybe we already did before. I want to get your opinion on the way the council is trying to move forward to be in compliance with state law. Greg, we'll start with you.
Well, the election setup has been on the books since the 50s, 1950s. And, and I worked in city government for 18 years. And during that time, I heard no one complain about the way the elections were held. It's just the way they were, and people accepted the rules as they were. And I don't understand why now there's this impetus to have to change it. I think just a person in the state legislature, Elaine Davis, thought that it needed to be changed, so potentially more Republicans could be elected to city council. And I don't think that I've ever heard of the elections method electing more candidates from a given party. So that said, I think that the Councilman Roberto has come up with a plan that's workable. It mirrors the way the elections were held, where it seems that many of the city voters were more than happy with the way that is. But, I think in the sense that it's going to require more money to run, probably, because you're going to have to run citywide twice. That could be a problem. Right. But in the end, I think it's probably the best solution to mirror the system that we have.
Right, and just so people understand, like you said, it will cost a candidate to do it. According to the chief financial officers, this costs nothing for the city to change the way that it is doing this election. But Courtney, your take on where we stand and how it's being presented.
We have to change the way that we do elections. Nashville has told us that we have to do this. So whether we vote yes or vote no, the way that we do elections in the city of Knoxville will absolutely change for city elections. Voting yes on this amendment, like Craig said, is the best option to preserve the system that we currently have that voters tend to like. I am a city voter. I like being able to vote on all the city council candidates because it gives the individual voter a certain amount of power and authority that's rather unique. You are voting for all 9 city council people when you vote yes on this amendment, which means when they are discussing citywide issues or something that might be outside of your district but they need to vote on it, they need to take your vote into consideration. So I like the idea as a voter of maintaining my power and influence over 9 city council members and not just 4.
Right. Michael, do you see it like that this is an opportunity to actually have a say for all 9 of them?
I say that it is an opportunity for me to have a very minuscule amount of influence over city council people in other districts. I do not want to take my time to call 2 or 3 city council people for any reason. If the city council person that represents my district cannot take my issue to the floor of the county, of the city council, and make that case for me, then my case isn't going to be made. It doesn't really matter whether or not I have influence over a city council person because I voted for them. They're not going to remember that, nor are they going to care if I call them up to ask them about an issue that's affecting my district. It makes no sense to me.
And it is
going to be far too costly to benefit the voters. It's just not. They're going to get a bunch of mail from people they don't know and don't care about. It's going to be a waste of money. And the candidates who are grassroots oriented, who are favored by their district, will be overwhelmed by the obligation to campaign citywide. It makes no sense. It is a referendum that has no real purpose or cause, because representing or being able to call a representative in another district, that's just useless. It's a waste of time and money.
I agree. It is useless and a waste of time and money if you are not that elected official's constituent. Voting yes on this amendment makes every city resident a constituent of each city council member. And those city council members absolutely care if the neighborhood president from a different neighborhood calls them, like Ronnie Collins, Alice Bell, Spring Hill, who is in favor of voting yes on this amendment, calls city council people and says, hey, the people in my community want you to vote yes or no on this, because he has an entire voting block that comes with him. Elected officials care when their constituents call them. They absolutely 100% care.
And in your scenario, obviously, that's a lot different if just one, to your point, Michael, one person calls versus somebody who may represent a big group. Now, all of a sudden, it gets real important to them. Craig,
for Ronnie Collins, that's great.
Right.
For Ronnie Collins. He is a 1 in a million voter. Absent Ronnie Collins, that benefits no one that doesn't have that influence.
Absolutely it does, because I can call the South Knoxville representative because I'm voting on them. Elected officials care when constituents call them, whether you're a Ronnie Collins, a Harold Middlebrook, or Jane Smith individual. They care when their constituents call them.
And I might point out, in the current setup, all the finalists in the districts and mayor, they all run citywide.
Right.
So there is part of this that already exists, that you have to get votes in other parts of the city to be elected. So those people will play a role in your election anyway. Right. And then I have a suggestion for people who want to do amendments. Yeah. Make an amendment so that the city, the county, the school board all vote in the same election at the same time. Make them all partisan, make them all nonpartisan. Just what I hear out is that there are too many elections. Let's codify them so we're running in the same year with the same rules, and that will make the electorate happier than anything else.
Okay, that is Craig's message to the city and to the county.
Not endorsed by the rest of the pundits.
Okay, yeah, yes, you can send your checks to this donation box right here. All right, on the subject of elections, Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs has been on the airwaves, I should say. I'm going to show you. There it is. Campaigning for Senator Marsha Blackburn. Kind of nothing new. I mean, he's in her corner as it is, but this is kind of a unique ad that I've not actually seen it, but people say they're seeing it on television, and I just want to get your guys' take. We'll start in the opposite direction. Michael, you first. Does it surprise you at all? And just your opinion about the ad. Let's go with that, too. But also, these two, it shouldn't surprise, I guess, anyone politically.
I might not have even really noticed this ad other than the fact that we talked about it last week when we were here. I see the ad as an effort to humanize Glenn Jacobs, who is not very likely known in Memphis, Chattanooga, or Nashville to voters there as Glenn Jacobs. Now, you mentioned The Undertaker's little brother, Kane. Everybody in every state that is adjoining to Tennessee knows who Kane is, but they don't know who Glenn Jacobs is. So I noticed the fact that he's in wrestler trunks with a bare chest. No Kane persona.
Yeah.
And so
that's probably owned by the wrestling bonus?
Well, you know, he's probably grandfathered into that thing by now, so that, you know, it's just like Jack Nicholson has the Joker. Chances are this is an effort by the Blackburn campaign to enlist the support of Glenn Jacobs, but also to assist him with humanizing himself for a run at the governor's mansion.
Yeah, I was saying, for what reason, Courtney? Yeah.
Well, because we've heard the rumors and speculation is Mayor Jacobs going to run for governor, and this ad solidifies the fact that yes, Mayor Glenn Jacobs will absolutely be running for governor of the state of Tennessee. There's no question about it. There's no reason why Marsha Blackburn might pick Mayor Jacobs out of all of the mayors in the state of Tennessee to do this sort of endorsement advertising on television. I think that's the key medium here. So I think we can all expect our county mayor to be making a run for Nashville.
And will you support candidate Jacobs for governor?
Well, Michael, you know I'm a Democrat.
I've heard that.
Have you? I don't know if you.
I've heard
that's
that.
the reason why I'm sitting in the middle of this program.
I have heard that.
That is not a developing breaking news. I think we have established that. Craig, your take on it, and
Well,
you see him as running for governor and being elected.
Well, the worst kept political secret in Knox County is that Glenn Jacobs wants to run for mayor. So clearly,
Governor.
Governor,
yes.
yes.
So clearly, this is a step in getting his name out in a wider circle on TV. But he's already at all the Lincoln Day dinners and things like that in the surrounding counties. So his foot in that race is solid. And you know, it depends. You know, we don't know what the field is yet.
Right.
You know, Cameron Sexton rumored to run, but he has some problems in Nashville, and you know, the head of the Core Civic, the group that runs the prisons or private prisons in Tennessee, is rumored to be running as well. And I don't see how he runs with all the contracts they have with the state. That would it would blow my mind. So the field isn't determined.
Right.
So you know, if Glenn's getting his name out there, that's good for him, because many of the people that I talk with in Nashville that don't know him at all. So he has to do the thing that Bill Haslam did in getting his name statewide out.
Well, we don't know who will win when it comes to votes, but if they got in the wrestling ring, we know who would win. So we'll leave it at that. All right, still to come in Tennessee this week, our state and our region hammered by the remnants of Hurricane Helene. Lots of community support swelling, but how does our area rebuild? And what's the role of the government? That's next. You're watching Tennessee This Week. Welcome back to Tennessee This Week. No doubt by now you've heard some of the things being said about maybe there's not money coming from the federal government to help out with flood relief, or maybe there is money, a lot of different things going on. Will Tennessee be able to reach out to the federal government and get help? Well, a couple of days ago, I had an opportunity to talk to the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, about that subject. Here's what he had to say. How does the money from the federal level get to the local level to help out? Is it after the fact, like you're sending your receipts, or how does that work? And do you have access to enough money to actually deal with this without calling Congress back?
So it's a little bit of both. We have what's called quick release funding. That is to get dollars out the door quickly for some of those early things like demolition and debris removal. And then we have a broader emergency relief fund, which does work on a reimbursement basis for those medium and long-term needs. And we are prepared as soon as Tennessee is ready to submit the assessment of what they need. We will process that request in a matter of hours because we know how urgent it is. When I look at the scope of the damage and the likely cost of reconstruction, there is no way that we can fully meet that out of our existing emergency relief funds without some help from Congress.
That's what he had to say. My question to the panel is, because of the different type of rumors going on, and I will say this much, there have been some people say, oh, this and it's not true, but Mayorkas kind of set that up when he said out loud that we don't have enough funding to last the hurricane season, so it got people kind of wondering what was going on. I'm just interested first, has the federal government responded well to, at least to the Tennessee portion of this flooding, from what you've seen, what you've read, what you've heard?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to point out how this process works. So the federal government just doesn't swoop in and say, what do you need?
And if we can back up, we need to tip our hats to say, like Knox County, THP. I mean, they were there right away, and they were picking people off of hospital roofs, and that's how it. People need to understand. And this is now me with just a little bit of opinion. Yeah, the federal government does not swoop in. They don't have trucks and money, you know, ready. The locals have to do that, and they did it. I mean, it appeared that they did a pretty good job of that at the beginning.
Yeah. So the process to get that FEMA assistance is the governor of the state needs to request it from the federal government. And until you make that request, you know, that's when the federal resources are mobilized. Now, governors can request it before a storm comes so that resources and infrastructure can be mobilized and ready to go in advance. Or it can be requested, you know, if you didn't think you were going to get a lot of damage and then, oh, you did, then you can request it after. By and large, what I've heard from governors and also city mayors is that the federal government has done a great job of responding for their requests. So the extent of the damage, I think, is just far beyond anybody's comprehension or what we thought would happen. So to me, it looks like we are doing the absolute best that we can responding to the amount of damage that is just of absolute biblical proportions.
Right, and I'm not here to, like I said, defend or support the federal government, but again, the Secretary of Transportation said as soon as Tennessee is ready to submit the assessment of what they need, we will process a request in a matter of hours because we know how important that it is.
Well, first of all, I'd like to salute our thoughts and prayers with the people that were so devastated by this storm. It seemed to catch everyone somewhat by surprise. Everyone knew it was coming, it was going to be bad, but not nearly as bad as it was.
I think that's the part.
And then, you know, again, the real heroes in this were the first responders who, as you say, were on the roofs, plucking people from using helicopters, in the boats, doing swiftwater rescues, and trying to reach the outskirts, the outlying areas to see if people who were reported as missing or were indeed missing or just out of contact because of lack of communications. So that's first of all. It's going to take a huge public and private partnership to rebuild after these storms. The federal government, the state government, and the local governments will have to do their parts in the public infrastructure, you know, rebuilding the bridges, the roads, making sure we're ready to get to the next storm, which apparently we're going to have more storms, greater severity because of changes in our weather. And then it's going to be the private insurance companies, along with their clients and customers, they're going to have to do the rebuilding of the houses and the businesses. So it is an overwhelming task when you look at what happened. I can't imagine. TVA is now putting a boom across Douglas Lake to stop the debris that's coming down from getting into Douglas Dam. So, I mean, this is historical. The amounts of water were historical, and it'll take a public-private partnership to make sure that these communities recover.
How do you see, we're just 1 week into this, really. I mean, 1 week from it happening and then the response starting. How are you seeing how things play out? And again, since we're talking about maybe the states helping with the governor being out there 2 or 3 days in a row and the federal government's part in this, Michael?
I think this has been the kind of disaster that makes Americans appreciate being Americans, because I see and hear people talking all the time about, I've done something, I've sent cases of water, but I wish I could do more. I need to do more. And I've started to compile a list of different nonprofits and agencies that will accept donations of food, water, clothing, money. It really appears that everyone is chipping in ways that they never have before. And so this is a good thing. The federal government aside, just the American human spirit, seeing that come alive is heartening. My heart goes out to those that are suffering. And we were talking before we went on set about Asheville flooding, and I lived in that area for a while. It's hard to imagine those rivers flooding in that way. I mean, literally, schools are underwater. And they have nothing. They don't have water to do anything with. So any and everything that viewers that watch this program, anything you can do would be really appreciated by the individuals that need it. And I really do think that the government is doing everything that it can do to make the situation better. better and right.
Yeah, and the people certainly are. We've been down there in Newport, Cott County all week as a news agency. I was down there Monday, and just to watch people, and I want to say this because there were people who didn't have water at their own house, had all kinds of issues, but were still there taking in donations so they could get those donations back out to other people. I mean, it just really is amazing, the spirit of volunteering and of helping that we are seeing because of this tragedy. But we are running out of time. Just to remind you, you can find places to donate at WATE.com. Thank you very much for watching Tennessee This Week, and we'll see you next week.
The views of guests on Tennessee This Week are their own and do not represent the views of WATE 6 on your side or Nexstar Broadcasting.